I'm Megan Kuhn with Powerhouse Real Estate. Today I'm going to talk to you about selling your home for sell by owner. This is a big thing that people ask. Do you need a real estate agent when it comes to selling your home? So I'm going to give you some tips if you choose to list your home for sell by owner, and also give you some warnings for if you get into that position, some things that you should have a heads up on before you get too far down the road. So the first thing I want to talk about is prepping your home to list. This is something that a real estate agent would usually come in and help you prepare your home to list. There's a lot of resources online to help you find ways to make your home look more expensive and get ready to sell quicker. However, a real estate agent's eye is really going to be able to detect what's relevant to the market and the things that are going to be applicable for your price range. So do the best you can if you choose to list for sell by owner, but those are some things that you should think of when it comes to listing your home, is making sure that you're prepping it correctly so that when you get it on the market, it's going to sell quickly and for the most amount of money. As you get your home listing prepared, you want to use professional pictures. That is one of the most important things to help your home stand out on the market, is to use pictures that are done by a professional photographer. They're going to get the best angles, the best lighting, and they're really going to highlight it in the best way so it looks professional and it catches the eyes of the buyers, so that as they're scrolling online, they stop and look at your home and choose to go and take a closer look at it in person. Make sure as you put your listing together that all of the information is correct as far as square footage, acreage, all of those things. That's the information that the buyer is going to go off of throughout the sale. And so we want to make sure it's as accurate as possible. Another thing to keep in mind is as you get that listed, the exposure that that listing is getting. Most buyers out there are looking on our MLS and working with a real estate agent. You can post your listing on KSL, and they have a for sale by owner section on Zillow. Those are usually the best places to put those listings. However, you're missing a lot of opportunity when you don't have it listed on the MLS. And that's where an agent comes into play, because you have to be a real estate agent to be able to list it there. The next thing that you want to think of is, are you going to choose to work with an agent on the buyer side? As buyers are searching online and they find your listing, if they're working with an agent, they're going to send that listing to their agent and see if it's something that they can go and look at. You have the option, as these agents are calling you, to accept a showing from that buyer's agent, or say you're not working with any buyer's agents on the sell. You have a little disadvantage if you work with a buyer's agent, because that buyer's agent obviously is representing the buyer and is going to have their best interests in mind. However, again, you're going to miss a lot of buyers by choosing not to work with a buyer's agent. If you choose to work with a buyer's agent, they probably will expect you to pay their commission. So you're going to save on the listing side, but you will still probably have to pay for the buyer's agent included in the sale. That will be something that would be negotiated up front. But this is something to keep in mind, because you're definitely going to get calls from buyer's agents. And so you need to decide if you're willing to work with them or not. And of course, the most obvious part about listing for sell by owner is documents. How are you going to handle the legal documents that go with buying and selling real estate? We use in the MLS, our legal department has created documents that we use that are legal documents, legally binding, and they have all of the terms laid out for us that we just have to fill in. They've been legally vetted. Of course, they've been created based on problems that have come up. And so you can find some free resources for this online. However, you still might want to consider what you're going to be using ahead of time, so that as offers come in, if you're not using an agent and if your buyer also does not have an agent, you need to decide how those documents are going to be created, what's going to be in them, and how you're going to be handling those documents legally. When it comes to this much money in a transaction, you want to make sure that all of the boxes are checked and the I's are dotted, because there's a lot at stake between you and the buyer to make sure that things go smoothly, there's no misunderstandings, and that you guys are on the same page, so that as you get to closing, there's no legal disputes that arise. A couple of other things to keep in mind when it comes to selling your home for sell by owner. Again, there's a lot at stake when it comes to selling real estate, and we want to make sure that your emotions stay in check. It's an emotional process, and so usually the real estate agent becomes the buffer between you and the buyer. You may be offended by things that the buyer finds in the inspection. There's a lot of things that can come up that emotions get involved, and people might react in a way that isn't the best. So we want to make sure that you know that going into it and understand that there will be emotions involved and have a plan of how you're going to handle those throughout the process. Along that same line, you want to make sure that as problems arise, you have a plan in place, that you understand the process of selling real estate from getting the home listed all the way to closing. And so that as problems might come up throughout the process, whether it's inspection problems, appraisal problems, problems with the lending side, anything like that that might come up, that you understand enough about it to be able to work through those things and know what the next steps are to get to the closing line. I hope this was helpful if you're considering listing your home for sale by owner. I hope that I taught you something new. If you have questions, you can always reach out to me. My name's Megan with Powerhouse Real Estate.